All right, Algebra 2, we are now going to learn more about this notation. Here's the deal with this notation. It's communicating things to you. So what do I mean by that? Check out, first of all, let's look at the notes together. The notes we're starting with, let me get my pen written. The notes we're starting with right now, this is the equation. We're referencing this equation right here, up here. And now it's saying, hey, we want you to use the equation above and find f of 3x. Now this may look crazy, but y'all, all this is saying is take the function f, all right, there it is right there, and now you're going to plug in 3x. Everywhere that there was an x, you're now going to replace it with a 3x. What does that look like? It looks just like this. My recommendation on how to do these problems, especially if you want your partial credit on these, if you're not going to have tons of good algebra skills, solve it like this. I want to see it where you go f, and then you leave open the parentheses, equals 2, and then you leave open the parentheses, plus 3. Now, look what I just did. I wrote every single part of the equation except for the x part. I replaced the x part with parentheses, more or less. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and write 3x. Now, this is half credit, y'all. This gets you to half credit. This gets you to, oh, I know what you're doing. You know that to plug things in, you know what this is supposed to look like, etc. But now you have to go one step further and simplify. So you're going to distribute. Parentheses always means multiplication. So 2 times 3x is in fact 6x. And then that plus 3 is right there. So all I did was insert a 3x into this equation, and we have ourselves our answer. That's the basics of this. So now let's go look at some problems together and see what's up. So, A, this is saying find r of 2x plus 1. Oh my God, mister, I'm so lost. I don't understand what I'm doing. Don't freak out. It's just instructions. It's saying go find r. All right, there's r right there. And now you're going to, notice this x right here where it says r of x? Yes. And there's an x right here. We're going to replace those things. So my recommendation, go ahead and write the big parentheses. Everywhere you see that x, write a big parentheses instead. Make sure you have enough room to insert the 2x plus 1, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to write the big parentheses, and then I'm going to have that down. So now you can see I have my r skeleton written down here. My r is right there. I left the x blank, and then I did 5 times this blank right here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to insert this in. Now I have 2x plus 1. And then I'm going to put this in right here. One of the things I saw that some of y'all were confused on is you're like, mister, what am I supposed to do with this thing on the left, this r of 2x plus 1? You kind of just leave it like that. You can think of it as a weird y. This is basically saying y equals, more or less. So it's a bizarre looking thing, but just leave it like that. Now you're going to have to distribute this 5. So this is multiplication right here, y'all. This 5 times 2. So that gives us 10x. And then 5 times 1 is 5. And then I'm going to add that 3. Now you're not quite done because you have to put everything together that belongs together. The x's stay apart. And then that 5 and 3 go together as 8. And you end up with this for your answer. I think that's pretty straightforward. Not that big of a deal. All right, let's go ahead and check out the next ones. Let's see, where I'm B. Ooh, okay, cool. I'm going to go push pause for a second and get the equation for G copied down. Okay, I've written down the equation for G of X, and now this is basically the same thing. This looks a little rough, but again, to get half credit, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find your X's, and you're going to leave parentheses spaces open for that. So I switched my color ink to blue. I'm going to, look what I'm plugging in. It wants me to plug in 1/2 x plus 3. So I'm going to leave big spaces for my parentheses. 2, again, there's that x. That's what it's getting replaced. So I'm going to put big parentheses. That way I have plenty of room to fill in my stuff. And then this is 1/2 x plus 3. And again, the stuff on the left-hand side is like a fancy y. It's just a lot of information packed into a place. And then I can plug this in right here. And I have myself basically my answer. Now you have to simplify this, clean it up. Again, that's about half credit, being able to at least do this far. That lets me know you know what's up. You're going to distribute this 2 inside here. 2 times 1/2 is just 1. So that gives us 1x right here. I'm just going to write, let's see, 1x. And if you're wondering where I got that, 2 times 1/2 right here ends up being 1, y'all. And then I'm going to go back and do multiply 2 times 3, which gives me 6. And then I'm going to have that minus 4. Now we need to condense all this. This isn't simplified yet. We have, I'm going to remove that 1x. I'm just going to have an x up there. And then plus 6 minus 4, that gives you plus 2. And then your full answer is making sure you have this written down. Full answer is that. Not that big of a deal. All right, I'm going to write down the problem for C, for h of x. Let me go back and push pause. Okay, now this is copied down. I copied down the h of x equation in red. Once again, this is saying plug in a bunch of weird stuff. So what I want you to do is I want you to keep open your parentheses. I wrote this down, h of x, but leave it blank. 1/2. I'm going to open my parentheses. This is going to look weird because it's going to be double parentheses, right? So this x ends up with the parentheses as well. Make sure you're comfortable writing those double parentheses down. Right there. Okay, now we have to plug in this 1/4 x. 1/4 x plus 5. And then we're going to plug in the 1/4 x plus 5. And that's it. That's about half credit for that. Now you have to distribute this stuff and get it done. We're going to need a crash course on multiplying fractions together, on some radical rules, on negative rules. It's going to be real fun. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and distribute this through. So basically, we got to make sure we do the interior, what's it called? The interior parentheses first. Don't forget PEMDAS, y'all. PEMDAS. PEMDAS is that sucker right here. That's parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So let's go inside and do this first. So the first thing I noticed, I have this 1/4 x plus 5 plus 21. I can actually get rid of these interior parentheses, and I end up with 1/4 x plus 5 plus 21. Now I can put the 5 and 21 together. So I have 1/2 times 1/4 x plus 26 plus 26. And now I can go ahead and finish this out. I'm going to distribute this 1/2. When I multiply 1/2 by 1/4, I'm going to get 1/8 x. And then 1/2 times 26 is going to be 13. I just cut it in half. And that is our answer for this one right here. H 1/4 x plus 5. All right. Let's see how many more we have to do. All right, I have this copied down, f of x. So the same business right here. We're going to go ahead and make sure that we plug in everything correctly. So I'm going to write my f of x minus 8 equals, the parentheses stay, y'all, but I'm going to create parentheses as well for that x right there, plus 2 squared minus 14. You can see the first original parentheses are the ones that come with the problem, and then I replace the x with those parentheses. Now I'm going to plug in an x minus 8 in here. There's not much more to do with that, so I'm going to drop the parentheses in the next line. So I end up with x minus 8 plus 2 squared minus 14. You can see all that right there. Okay, now I'm going to put the minus 8 plus 2 together. So I'm going to end up with x minus 6 squared minus 14. And then I'm cool with this one. If you want to keep this just as is, you can leave it like that. However, we are going to get into more work of where we expand this out to where like x minus 6 squared. So we have x minus 6 like this, and to square it, you multiply it by itself. minus 14. And then I'd have to do the whole multiplication thing between each other. But I'm not going to do that yet. We're going to have plenty of time to get into that in this section. For now, I want to make sure you just can read how to insert these types of things. So that's really it. See you in class.